July 20th, 2021. A calm summer morning off the coast of Sanibel Island, Florida. The water was warm and glassy. A 6-year-old boy floated just past the sandbar, carefree, weightless, smiling. Then came the ripple. 1, then 3, then 5 bottlenose dolphins, circling fast around him. His grandfather stood frozen on the beach, heart pounding, convinced the boy was being attacked. But the dolphins weren't playing, and they weren't confused. Beneath the surface, just yards away, a bull shark moved silently through the shadows. What made these wild animals intervene? What instinct told them this child needed protection? And what happened in the next few minutes would leave a family shaken, a rescuer stunned, and the world wondering how close we all are to something ancient and unknowable. This isn't fantasy. It happened. And it changed lives. Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. Liam was 6, with salt-bleached hair, a collection of seashells in his room, and a laugh that carried across the dunes. He lived in Fort Myers with his mother and grandfather, just a short drive from Sanibel Island. Summers meant sand between his toes, peanut butter sandwiches under striped umbrellas, and long, lazy swims where the sea felt like home. His grandfather, a retired marine biologist, always kept one eye on the water, and one hand shading his brow. Liam wasn't afraid of the ocean. If anything, he trusted it. Dolphins were his favorite, he'd once told his mom they smiled like people. That morning felt like any other, sun-warmed towels, sunscreen in his eyes, and the endless blue ahead. But nothing ordinary stays ordinary forever. The sea remembers things we forget, and sometimes, it answers back. The ocean was calm, too calm. Liam had wandered just a little farther than usual, drifting past the shallows while his mother stepped away for water. His grandfather watched from a beach chair, half shaded by his wide straw hat, until something pulled his gaze. A sudden splash. Then another. Not from Liam, but around him. Dark, sleek bodies sliced through the water in tight circles. At first, it looked like play. But the pattern was wrong. Too fast. Too focused. Then came the unmistakable rise of dorsal fins, cutting through the surf like knives. The old man stood up, eyes narrowed, heart racing. He wasn't sure what he was seeing, but every instinct he'd spent a lifetime cultivating screamed that something was wrong. Deeply wrong. And out there, beyond the safe reach of sand, his grandson was no longer alone. The dolphins moved faster now, tightening their circle, churning the water white. Liam floated at the center, confused but unafraid, still thinking it was a game. From shore, his grandfather stepped into the surf, calling out, unsure whether to run or freeze. Something about the dolphins' behavior felt off, coordinated, intense, almost desperate. Then he saw it. A second, sharper fin. Lower, slower, cutting a straight path just outside the circle. Not a dolphin. The water seemed to hold its breath. He scanned the beach, no lifeguard in sight, no mother nearby. Panic rose like a tide. He began to wade deeper, feet dragging in the sand, instincts clashing with disbelief. Could it really be what he thought? His mind said no. His gut said run. But the sea was already answering, and it was too late to pretend everything was fine. A sudden roar broke through the rising panic, the engine of a rescue jet ski slicing across the waves. A lifeguard, alerted by a distant beachgoer, was already racing toward the scene. From his elevated seat, he slowed, confused by what he saw, a child encircled by dolphins, motionless, while something darker lurked just beyond. Years of training kicked in. He veered wide, scanning the shadow below, then saw the unmistakable movement of a bull shark, cruising slow, deliberate. But the dolphins held their line, unyielding, protective. The lifeguard eased closer, careful not to disturb the fragile balance. On shore, the grandfather dropped to his knees, tears and salt in his eyes. Something was holding the danger at bay. It wasn't him. It wasn't luck. For the first time, he felt it, this wasn't chaos. It was intention. Something wild had chosen to protect what was most human. The lifeguard cut the engine, drifted in close, and made eye contact with the boy, still floating, silent, inside the living wall of dolphins. Any sudden move could scatter them. Any hesitation could cost seconds. He inched forward, reaching out with one arm while the other gripped the craft. Just as Liam turned toward him, the shark surged, closer now, curious or calculating. The dolphins responded instantly, tightening their circle, two of them darting forward to intercept. Their bodies collided with the predator, redirecting its path, buying precious moments. The lifeguard lunged, grabbing Liam by the waist and hauling him up in one fluid motion. Water sprayed. The boy gasped. The jet ski spun hard as the man gunned the throttle. Behind them, the dolphins remained, still guarding, still fighting. They didn't flee. They held the line. And no one yet knew if it would be enough. The shoreline blurred as the jet ski reached the sand. Liam was safe in his mother's arms within seconds, but no one spoke. Not yet. The boy was quiet, shivering, wide-eyed, clinging without words. His grandfather knelt beside them, his hands trembling, eyes locked on the horizon. Out there, the water had stilled. The dolphins were gone. So was the shadow. But in their place lingered silence, dense, unnatural. The lifeguard stood apart, helmet off, watching the sea as if waiting for something else to rise. Minutes passed like hours. No sirens. No crowds. Just wind, waves, and the sound of a small child breathing against his mother's chest. Everyone waited, for relief, for answers, for the weight to lift. But the moment held, suspended between fear and awe. Because sometimes, what saves you disappears before you understand it ever came. Then, movement. From the water's edge, someone cried out. Far offshore, a single dolphin leapt high, twisting in midair before crashing down in a burst of foam. Another followed. And another. The sea erupted in motion, not panic, but release. The threat had passed. The shark was gone. The pod began to disperse, slow and calm, slipping beneath the surface one by one. On the beach, Liam finally exhaled. His mother wept openly now, holding him tighter than ever. The lifeguard dropped to the sand, breathless, eyes wet. And the old man, silent until then, whispered thank you to no one, to everything. They had seen it. They had been chosen. Nature had spoken in a language older than fear. And a boy had come home alive, not by chance, but by something far more deliberate. Weeks passed, but the memory never softened. Liam began sleeping with a small dolphin plush beside him, a quiet token of something he couldn't yet explain. His mother no longer let him out of reach near the water, but she smiled more when watching the sea. His grandfather, once the teacher, now found himself a student again, humbled by what he'd witnessed. They spoke of the dolphins often, not as animals, but as guardians, neighbors, even friends. No photos were taken, no proof beyond the memories etched into them all. But something had shifted. Not just in that family, but in how they looked at the wild. Maybe the ocean isn't just a place to visit. Maybe it's a place that watches back. And maybe, just maybe, it chooses when to answer. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Stories like these remind us how deeply connected we are to the natural world, and how sometimes, the most extraordinary moments happen when we least expect them. A dolphin's act of protection, a family forever changed, and the knowledge that nature still holds mysteries we've yet to fully understand. Do you think the ocean is trying to tell us something, too? What do you believe about the bonds between humans and animals? Share your thoughts below, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss the next incredible story. Remember, sometimes the most remarkable things happen just when we need them the most. See you next time.